Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen.
And I'm trying to remember how I worded the question this week.
Is there anything that would cause you to want to quit playing music?
Thank you, Dean. What he said. Is there anything that would cause you to want to quit playing music? No. I've thought long and hard about this. And I've thought short and limp about it. And I'm not sure there is anything. I guess, my friend said, what if somebody were to poke a needle in a child's eye every time you played a note? And I said,
I'm good.
I just don't want to watch it.
I have a question. I've got these out for doing the thing. Okay, is it the child that when I'm on an airplane is always seated behind me, kicking the back of my seat? Because I'll make more music then.
Well, he only has two eyes, so you can only play two notes to get that child out of there. But yeah, I was also thinking like, if I lost I guess what got me thinking about this in the first place was I was like, if anything ever happened to my hands, like, what would I do? And then I'm like, okay, I'll play with my feet. Or, I'll learn how to sing or whistle and annoy the hell out of people with that.
Or digital audio workstation. You just make music on the computer. Yeah.
With your toes.
You can use your elbows.
Yeah, I mean, did Stephen Hawking ever make any music with FL Studio or anything?
That's not cool.
Why is that not cool?
he probably, I know, well, they do make it.
I'm not even kidding. He probably could have. He probably had some way to tell it to assign the kick drum to, I don't know. Anyway.
That's true. If you're a physicist, you should be able to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if I were deaf, I think I would just try to feel the vibrations and do that. So yeah, I don't think there's any reason I would ever quit playing music. It definitely doesn't matter if I'm not making money. So yeah. So what about you guys?
Well, yeah, I think you read at the very end there, you brought it up. I'm short of not being able to hear. I don't think there's anything. I was, when I thought about it, I was reminded of Ludwig van Beethoven, who became mostly deaf later in his life, but he was still composing. He apparently was a cranky old man. But anyway, yeah, I don't think there's anything really that would prevent me from making some kind of musical output. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. Like, for all the reasons you said, short of not being able to hold drumsticks or anything.
Yeah, so you would just shift it to something else like that you could still
I mean, I think I'm wondering if I think we may have asked this question months or years ago, which sense would you like to lose? I don't know if I would like to lose my sight or my hearing. I do remember when I was in high school, I went to like a drum seminar thing for a weekend somewhere with a couple of people from my high school. And the drummer, Joe Morello, who played with Dave Brubeck, was pretty much blind by that time. And but he did a little session with us. And I mean, he could still play. He had an assistant that brought him in and sat him behind the drums, handed him the sticks, and he knew exactly where everything was on the drum kit, and he could still play. So I don't know. Yeah, Rodney's playing. Close your eyes, Rodney, and try that again. So maybe short of not being able to hear, I don't think there's anything that would prevent me from doing music.
Okay. I think even if you can't hear, you could actually do the vibration thing. A lot of people are thinking that I've never actually made any music, and I'm talking music critics, those sort of things, members of my family. The only thing that could prevent me, and I just thought about this, from going on and constantly making music is if I lost hand here, because if you've ever seen my solo act, it's me playing She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain by putting my hand under, right in the armpit and flapping the arm. And it's God, audiences love it. I mean, audiences, it's still better than the chain smokers. Is what I'm going to say. Yeah. So it's, no, I mean, even when I wasn't in a band, and that's why I asked you, Dan, is this like mean that I can't drum on a desk and Oliver Sacks has a great book out talking about like how prevalent music is in our brains and the need for, everybody will make music. When they, cut the funding for music classes in urban schools, that means people of color. They what happened was that's how turntable stuff and rap came about, because denied the access to instruments, people said, what can I make music out of? So people will always find something to make music. I'll continue, and I don't care if people don't want to hear it. In fact, I think now is sort of the best time to really be in music, because you can make stuff at home and then you can put it out on Bandcamp. You really have a lot more freedom now, I think, than you ever did have, which is really, really good. You don't want to do something. I'm oftentimes like, well, would you like to do this? I'm like, no, who gives a shit? I'm not doing it. And it's a great bit of freedom to have. I'm kind of glad I'm not a professional musician again. Because professional musicians get, you have to do this. You have to, and then they get in this trap where they have to put out a record every so often, and they have to tour. It's like, now put out a record, now tour, now tell everybody how you doubled this with a 12 string. I'm like, I don't really play guitar. Tell them you doubled it with a 12 string. So yeah, I can't think of, other than being forced to be a professional musician again, I can't think of anything to stop me from playing music. All right, so thank you.
So being a professional is what would keep you from, or is what would make you quit.
I've often said I should quit this band and start a career in music.
Good answer.
Well, if we go and play a show for money, that's kind of like you're being a professional in a way. But anyway, I would say, I can't hear Rodney anymore.
No, I just said we get paid.
Oh,
You guys have been getting
you
paid
haven't
all
heard?
this time. I've not been getting paid. I've been told that I would get some money someday.
I wasn't supposed to say that.
You get your per weekum, and that's it.
Per week. Yeah, I'm going to buy a red leather suit with it. All right.
I was gonna say if I lost my hearing, that would probably be the only thing, but I would still think of music in my head. I'm almost certain, but I wouldn't have any way of conveying that. And the only reason is that I'm not proficient in writing music notation wise, because otherwise I could probably just go straight from brain to paper and I'd still be in a way making music. But since I can't do that, I play by ear. And if I don't have my hearing, that would be, I think, the one thing that would keep me from making music. But otherwise, I always want to make music. So even if I lost all my limbs, I'd still probably find a way to make music.
I make a PSA
Maybe.
for all the young people out there to at least consider wearing earplugs.
Yes. At least half of them.
yeah.
I've been wearing earplugs.
That's a good recommendation.
Yeah. I'll mention it now. I mean, I've been wearing earplugs for about 30 years, and I think it's probably saved some of my hearing. I still have lost the top end, I think, just from being old.
Yeah,
But,
I don't wear earplugs for the same reason nobody ever throws a life preserver to the bodies on the Titanic. It is a lost cause. When I was 16, I saw Ronnie James Dio, and it's been worse and worse. We were talking about this the other night. We were talking about that. If it's too loud, you're too old. We're like, no, your hearing gets worse as you get older. If it's too loud, you're not old enough. Yeah, but I would, if I had to do it all again, I would probably wear earplugs, because there's a lot of times I wind up smiling and nodding, and I have no idea. I probably agree.
It's not too late, Rodney. It's
What?
not too late. I'm at a different stage than Dean's hearing, because I only started wearing them about 5 years ago. But I can tell it makes a difference. I don't hear crickets that aren't there anymore. As I'm trying to go to sleep in a house that doesn't have crickets in it. Yeah, we did have a lizard that we had crickets for a while.
A turtle I had to feed crickets to. Yeah, you hear them at night. Yeah.
But seriously, and then like the sound that would just suddenly be there for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Look, I can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. So it was either earplugs or a condom. And I stand by my choice. Hell, I'm wearing a condom right now.
I'll provide a link to the earplugs that I wear, and people can try them out.
And I'll provide a link to the condoms I wear.
They're not custom made or anything. They're over the counter.
Well, hey guys, thanks for answering that weird question. I just wanted to confirm that, you guys were in it to win it. I didn't think you would have any reason. I just wanted to make sure. I don't want to be like,
tell from our recent rehearsals. I guess not.
Yeah, I get up every Sunday. I try to spend my Sunday, a large chunk of it, just writing music. I can't stop that. For years, I didn't do anything. I mean, I wrote and did songs and stuff. I didn't really perform out and all that. And to lose that is a horrible thing. And to get it back is a great feeling. So I'm constantly like, I just can't write enough songs. Some people think I write too many, but
I was thinking about it too, because like you hear about these people are like, oh, I'm going to retire. And they're like, he's 65 years old. And like, okay, retiring from like some shitty corporate job at 65. Okay. But like music, why are you retiring from music? You're capable of playing. Why can't you just, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like a publicity thing, and then they come back a few years later as a reunion tour.
They might be of like the old mindset where you okay, well, that means I'm not recording, I'm not playing live, but they don't understand. You can consult with people. People can say, hey, what do you think of this? So you sort of produce, you could remix. There's a whole big world out there. So it's kind of like if you're not first, you're last. That's stupid. You could be second or third. In the words of Reese Bobby. So,
I understand if somebody were to take a break if something traumatic happened or some kind of weird thing, but like, okay, then at some point, you come back.
Maybe they're just retiring professionally.
True. I hereby retire professionally right now.
Really?
Yeah, the rest of it's going to be just fun.
I heard I was eaten by cannibals in Borneo. Along with Michael Rockefeller.
Well, I guess for recommendations, I would recommend not becoming a professional musician. Not that I would know what it is, but yeah. But play music.
Okay, well, in keeping up with that, I'll recommend a band that I just heard the other day. It's a post-punk band from Amsterdam, and they're called Global Charming. And the song I heard on driving to rehearsal the other night is a song called Celebration from their 2020 album called Mediocre, Brutal. It's kind of like a really driving motoric song from like Can or Noi or something like that. And I'll provide links to a cool little video of them playing live couple songs for a Dutch radio station, and also a link to their Bandcamp album. And I'll also recommend the earplugs that I use. I think they're called etymotic, and I'll provide a link and you can check them out. They're only like $12 or something. They're well worth it. You should check them out.
Dean, in this song that you heard by this band, was there a part of it that went, we've got a thing that's called Radar Love? Because you may have been listening to Golden Earring. It sounds like you were listening to Golden Earring. Yep. Or a Dutch band. I like that part in the Twilight Zone video where that little girl turns to the camera. It's very spooky. So I'm going to, first I'm going to start off with an apology, and that is to Mr. Chris Connor, who I don't know, but I'm a fan of. He is Chris Connor from IAMX. Last week on this show, I was talking about the Terminus Fest, and I said that he'd come out and it was a train wreck. Now, I didn't see the show, and the source that said that I trust. But what I'm apologizing for is he tried something different. He came out with a weird modular setup, and I've seen pictures of it, and it looked cool. And he tried something different. He could have come out with an acoustic guitar, which he plays well, and just strummed out and done like an acoustic set. But he did something different, and there aren't enough musicians out there doing something different. So I give him, that's why I have my ghost box going tonight. It's in honor of Chris doing something different. Bob Dylan will never do something different, but Chris Connor did something different, and he gave it a try. And even if it didn't go well, and some people have different opinions of it, he did. He tried something, and that's what you have to do. Sometimes you get that adrenaline rush of trying something new and different. So, with that, what we're going to show you now, okay, is a picture of the patio area of one of my favorite restaurants. And it's just a little sign outside there. And it says, telling you that don't go through here, go to the front, through the door, and speak to the wait person there, the person at the door. I'm making it longer than it is, but it's in 2 languages. It's pretty understandable. My wife and I eat there pretty regularly. We'll be out there in the patio section. Somebody will walk right past the sign, sometime in groups, sit down. And when somebody comes and says, oh, I'm sorry, you can't just come in and sit down. You have to go talk to the person at the front door because they have to seat you on us. They yell at the person telling them that. They don't apologize like I just did. I screwed up, so I apologize to Chris Connor. No, they don't say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. They start going off about, well, we're going to sit here and you're going to feed us. And I'm sitting there like, one time there's an old woman there, like the classic cranky old woman, and her daughter's trying to explain to her, Mom, we got to go around the front. She goes, we're not supposed to just go back here. She says, I guess I'm just interesting and different. I'm like, yeah, lady, those are the adjectives I would use to describe you. So the other thing I wanted to point out, which is tangential to this, is oftentimes I'll be coming back from work I'm in the office on Thursdays, and I like to go down to the Walnut Street station and take the subway home from there. And sometimes there's a Phillies game, and we have people from out of town, and they see the Walnut Express pull up, which stops at Walnut Street. Then they get on it, even though people like me will say, hey, you don't want to get on that. And I'm dressed in businessman attire when I say this. You don't want to get on there. That doesn't go, well, what do you know? He's lying to us. And they get on, and then the SEPTA workers come, and they tell them, excuse me, folks, this doesn't go any further. You're going to have to, it's not taking with it. And they start yelling at the SEPTA workers. These are like groups of people yelling at SEPTA workers. And they're like, oh, yeah, it must be great to have a SEPTA job. I'm like, what do you do for a living, buddy? And they're just really, really super rude. And all they would have to do is say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and just get off of there. So I'm saying if you make a mistake, apologize and then move on. But don't stand there and yell at people just trying to do their job. Thank you.
I like that.
I would recommend a podcast.
Okay.
It's a particular podcast. It's called Broken Record Podcast. And it's hosted by Rick Rubin, Malcolm Gladwell, and Bruce Headlam.
Oh,
I've listened to 3 episodes so far. They're all interviews with Rick Rubin. He has a good way of teasing out stories from people. They're all musicians. I heard Ringo Starr, Michael Stipe, and John Frusciante. So I recommend this podcast. There's a whole bunch of other ones you can hear, but those are the 3.
Can't wait to.
Yeah,
you'll love it. John Frusciante does not mention the Dead Milkmen, so you don't worry.
how does Malcolm Gladwell play into it?
I don't know, because I think he just introduces it at the beginning, and it's all really just Rick Rubin once you get out of the introduction.
Okay, well, good, because Malcolm's problematic. But anyway,
yeah,
I don't even know who that is. I just read it.
Yeah, you don't bother.
Yeah, just this is another thing we're going to have to explain to you from the wonderful world, isn't it?
Okay, well, it's called Broken Record Podcast. I'll put a link. We'll put a link. Someone will put a link.
And don't forget to check out Marilyn Manson and Harvey Weinstein podcast. Girls, girls, girls.